What's up, guys? Welcome. Welcome into the program. Trying to get everything up and going here for our live streams. All right, I think we are just about there. Welcome in, guys. What's going on? Happy, what is today? Wednesday, middle of the week? It's the midweek celebration, our favorite day of the whole week. Darn straight. Hope you guys enjoyed, by the way, the podcast yesterday or the radio program from yesterday with Dr. Robert Malone.
2 minutes till broadcast.
With Joe Radich. Great content, great information. I love how a plan falls into place just like that. Ha ha ha! On the program today, oh yeah, there's nobody today. That's right. Just you and I chit in the chat, doing our thing the way we do each and every day. So we got a lot to talk about. We have the January 6th videos coming out, the COVID-19 origins, and the TikTok ban. All of it. Or you're just shaking your head saying, what in the world's going on, man? Welcome. All right. Got a lot to talk about today.
Till broadcast.
Already, whatever will we do with all that amount of time? By the way, if you guys enjoy the program, which we appreciate you, love you to death. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you do enjoy it, let me know on some of the social media feeds, however you listen, what state you're listening from. And if you like the program, on what radio markets are in your area. We'll get you on there as well, as we are expanding by leaps and bounds. So, with all that being said, we have tons of content to go over
30
today.
seconds till broadcast.
In our tiny little 1 hour program. And yes, it is a tiny 1 hour program because we could spend a couple hours on each one of these topics. So we'll do the best we can. As always, until then, if you are on the video stream, welcome aboard. Like it out, share it out, leave that comment. Break the social media algorithms. Let's have some fun today. What do you say? Coming up, hang tight.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Republicans right now, the conservatives, which unfortunately, this is what we have to do every time, even after a vote where people are sick and tired of the establishment, they're sick and tired of the squeezy, middle-of-the-road, squishy kind of Republican rhinos, and we vote conservatives in, then we have to fight tooth and nail in D.C. to actually be heard within the Republican Party.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yes, indeed it is. Welcome into the program. What's up? Happy middle of the week to you. It is a Wednesday, the greatest day of the entire week. I don't care who you are, baby. It's an awesome day. We're going to carpe diem all over this place. That's what we do each and every day. Welcome into it, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation, right here on our flagship radio station, Wichita's Big Talker KQAM out of Wichita, Kansas. Multiple radio stations, however, all over the place. TV, live streaming, podcasting, however you watch or listen, welcome aboard. We love you to death. Appreciate you hanging out with us today. Your Millennial General reporting for duty like we do every single day, especially today, man. It's International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day, representing the women all over the world, and even those that will be nice today, even those that pretend to be women in society. Right? We'll be nice, I guess. Way to take it away from the real women, guys. And yes, I say that, all pun intended. Way to do that, guy. Way to take away a day from the real women of the world who have tried so hard to become equals across the fruited plain, and yet you come in and swoop down and take all the glory by beating all the records in athletics all over the board. Oh my. I know, trigger warning right off the gate. Right out of the gate. What do you do? Welcome into the program. Happy International Women's Day to you. We represented and celebrated with the Republican Party today as well, as very triggering for some on the other side, man. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in Washington, D.C., right away putting Marjorie Taylor Greene as the Speaker pro tem for the day today. Oh, my. That again, majorly triggering for the other side of the aisle. As you know, she was the QAnon gal. She was the Donald Trump lackey. She was the right-wing, radical, Nazi, whatever else they try to call us on the left side of the aisle. Who cares? But, man, that had to have been difficult for some Democrat members who probably never even walked into the chamber today in spite of her being the Speaker pro tem and handing the gavel to her for the day during International Women's Day. Who says that Republicans don't hand off the power? And who says that Republicans don't view men and women equal on our side? In fact, we get blamed because we don't accept the ones that pretend to be women because women are so cool. Apparently, even dudes want to pretend to be women. So there's that one as well. With that being said, we got a lot to cover today. No guests. We were going to have Congressman Bob Latta on the program today. He changed up the schedule a little bit, so he's going to be on in about a week or so, which is okay. Tomorrow, President Joe Biden is set to release his budgetary proposal going into the end of the year and for next year, which is usually one of those symbolic gestures that we do at the statewide levels with governors where they give their State of the State speech, they propose their budget, and then they actually send their budget request to Congress and they say thanks while they put it into the request bin in the corner of the office because we really don't care what you have to say. As Congress, they have the power of the purse, and we really don't care what the president or the governors have to say on budgetary proposals, but we'll see what it says. So on Friday, we'll have a congressman on the program from here in the state of Kansas, Congressman Tracy Mann from the Big First District that I'm personal friends with. He's a great guy and a wonderful individual up in D.C. We'll have Congressman Bob Latta from the 5th District of Ohio on the program in the next week or so to get an update on that, among other things as well. So no guests today. You and I just chit in the chat, kicking back and talking about the major issues of the day, which there are a lot of them, and I do not have time to cover all of them in the in-depthness that we want to do on this program, like we like to do on this program, but we'll give it our best shot as usual. Starting off right out of the gate, baby.
What's trending today?
And I promised you we would talk about it yesterday. We didn't get a chance to do so, so today's the day. But there is a bill called the Restrict Act that Congress is talking about in a bipartisan manner. Did we finally find common ground in Washington, D.C.? And while we may have found bipartisan ground, is it the best type of legislation that we need? Unfortunately, it is not. No, it's not the type of bill. Have we not learned our lessons yet? Especially Republicans. I get it. Democrats are a little bit slow on the get-go here, and it takes a while for them to understand that freedoms lost are freedoms that cannot be regained unless there's a massive overhaul of the system. We do not want a massive overhaul of the system. But this idea and concept of banning social media sites, especially the banning of TikTok, I know has only been gaining popular support on both sides of the aisle, and maybe a lot of people, even on the Republican side, say, hey, we want to ban TikTok as well because it's a terrible app, it brainwashes our children, and China's getting all of our information. And all that could be a cause for concern. So, let's break it down. Shall we? Let's go ahead and break it out. First off, let's talk about the negatives of TikTok, because there are some negatives. Now, you can find me on TikTok. I do have a TikTok. I don't use it very often, but I have it. You can find me at Hooser Reason on there. And I have not posted a new video for, I don't know, probably a year or so, but I have one. And I'm going to start posting more on there. I just have to, just get, pretty myself up a little bit more so that way I can do the whole sticking out the arm and doing the selfie thing and doing the videos. But we are going to start doing some more TikTok videos on the show. And here's why. Is because TikTok is another social media outlet that is not under the purview of our federal government, which can be good and bad. The bad side of it, according to Breitbart.com, is there is a whistleblower that's come out of the company called ByteDance, B-Y-T-E Dance, which is the company that owns TikTok, where he says that it is very easy for them and their backdoor channels for those within the company to be able to flip back and forth and gain personal data from both Chinese residents and American residents and American citizens, which, by the way, there are over 100 million U.S. residents that use the social media app of TikTok. And it's not all just the younger generation that are doing dances in the street and making themselves look very stupid. That's not, I don't see any of that on my TikTok when I scroll through because I've actually set it up to see the content that I want to see, which is actually kind of neat. Can they put you in a certain box? Probably. Do they do the shadow banning? Probably, in some way, shape, or form. And do they have some type of propaganda that they try to promote on their social media site? More than likely. just like we do with ours here in the United States. What I find ironic about this entire conversation, and the next congressmen that we have on the program, multiples of them whenever we get them on, I'm going to be asking them this question, is while we're concerned about security threats with China, and we're all of a sudden now somehow weirdly, oddly concerned about privacy and security of our data, we're trying to silence TikTok and other social media companies that we'll get to in a second. Well, at the same time, we have our own federal government that tracks our cell phones, that tracks our text messages and phone calls that we make on our cell phone, that monitors our Alexa, the A word, whenever we try to activate things in our own home, that monitors our cars, and now we have so many computer chips in our cars they can monitor everywhere we go. And now the latest, according to the EV industry, is they're looking at it being able to lock down your EV if you're somewhere that you're not supposed to be, if you're potentially involved in some type of criminal activity, or if you're not paying your bills properly and the repo man's coming to get you. They can just lock it down to where you can't do anything about it, having full control over your transportation. They monitor and collect all of your emails. In fact, my generation just a few years ago filled out a survey saying that we were totally okay with the federal government taking our emails and monitoring every email transaction we have for a free pizza. They have GPSs on our phones. They have GPSs on our home devices. They have GPSs on our vehicles. They control and monitor and watch us to the nth degree, with metadata being collected every millisecond from our own federal government. And all of a sudden now we're concerned about privacy issues from another social media site, not under the purview of the federal government. To me, that raises red flags. That raises some major red flags there. So that being said, we're complete hypocrites if we actually support the idea of wanting to ban TikTok or other social media sites. If we're going to do so, however, because yes, there is some concerns about TikTok. Sure, I get it. Totally understand. It's a foreign country. They could use it for national security issues. And by the way, I completely support the concept of banning it for federal devices, federal cell phones, federal computers, federal individuals that walk into federal buildings, or military, or people that may have intel. Sure, ban that. Totally cool. You should probably do that for all of your social media, so that way you don't have it on your phone as well, because of the issues that we just mentioned prior to. But I'm talking to the Republicans specifically in Congress right now. Have we not learned our lesson that if we're going to address issues, maybe the federal government's not the best way to handle these problems, because the federal government always finds a way to make the issue worse and take more control of the industry? According to CNBC, this Restrict Act would give the power to ban social media sites, any type of foreign media site that's not under the purview of the federal government here in the United States, to the Commerce Secretary to mitigate, quote, undue or unacceptable risks to national security posed by technology transactions in which foreign adversaries have an interest. I want to just think out loud here for a second. Can we do that, just you and I? The way this is written, according to CNBC, the Restrict Act, that would empower the Commerce Secretary. First and foremost, right then and there, that should be the end of the conversation. Congress is again willy-nilly, openly giving their power and authority over to the bureaucratic state that is the Commerce Department, that's under the Biden administration, that's under the executive branch, meaning depending on what flavor a party is in Washington, D.C. as the president, is going to have a new secretary for the Department of Commerce, which means it's going to be up to them based on their political persuasion on what's going to be deemed as an unacceptable risk to national security. And you're telling me, Republicans in Congress right now, and I hope you're listening, and I know you do because I get messages from your offices all the time, and I love it and appreciate it. You're telling me that under the Biden administration right now, that is deemed MAGA individuals and Republicans and conservatives as potential domestic terrorists and election deniers, you're going to hand over the purview and oversight of social media to the Commerce Department for them to decide what is a risk to national security, when we're still talking about January 6th as an insurrection from 3 years ago. And we're talking about the side that says anybody who still believes Donald Trump or supports Donald Trump is a radical, is a Nazi, is a fascist and possible domestic terrorist. And you're going to openly give the power of oversight for social media, who decides what's going to be national security or not, to the Commerce Secretary. as opposed to oversight from Congress, which is what your purview is, to decide what national threats are and where you actually sink in money for military and national defense in order to stop national threat issues. So just that side alone, even if you agree with banning some type of social media, maybe we shouldn't hand that power over to a bureaucratic administrative state that's under the purview of an executive branch that's going to be extremely polarized and politicized as soon as it happens. And Republicans, you're somehow okay with this mindset. How does that make sense? Now, according to this, they say that it's foreign threats. They want to look at different sites that are coming out of China or Cuba or, other nations that aren't necessarily friendly to us in some way, shape, or form. But if you give this power over, then again, under the concept of national security threats, how quickly do you think it's going to be turned around from a bureaucratic left-wing socialist organization and administration who says, well, we also need to look at some of the other sites on there as well that's spreading quote-unquote misinformation, that's spreading lies, that's causing harm to the nation, that's brainwashing people improperly. And that would be, by the way, Truth Social, that's run by Donald Trump. That would be Getter, that's run by many conservatives, including other talk show hosts like Dan Bongino. Telegram, where you can actually have different group chats about different topical issues. Rumble, which is the alternative to YouTube because YouTube silenced us so much. You're telling me that you're going to give the purview again of social media, which is our way of communicating in the 21st century today. You're going to give that over to a politicized, polarized agency under the executive branch that right now hates anybody on the right side of the aisle. And you think that it's going to be okay just because we're concerned about TikTok in China, while we have all other forms of monitoring and censoring and metadata collection from our own federal government that you're apparently okay with, but TikTok's bad because you guys can't control it. Something to me is telling me, something's not right here.
Is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hooser Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
Fighting for freedom every day. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
All right, it is 24 minutes past the hour. Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out today. You know what I'm starting to realize, the more we talk about this concern about social media, TikTok, trying to ban social media sites like TikTok, you know what it comes down to? My humble opinion comes down to the fact that government cannot control all of the content that's out there right now on social media. Now, are there some negative things about the Chinese company of ByteDance that owns TikTok? Sure, absolutely there is. Should we be concerned about those and try to address them in some form or fashion? Sure, we can. As I mentioned, completely agree with banning it coming from federal devices or individuals that have any type of intel for national security issues, so that way China doesn't get that. Heck yeah, let's do that, baby. But what this really comes down to, and we always have to unveil the layers of the onion, try and figure it out just a little bit deeper, this comes down to the fact that government right now cannot control all of the content out there. There is stuff we still do not know, as we talked about with Dr. Robert Malone yesterday, regarding the origins of COVID, regarding the data about COVID, regarding about how COVID was spread, about how detrimental the lockdowns were, both for humanity and economically, about the January 6th issues. We're just now, years later, 3 years later, we're getting the video released, the 40-plus hours worth of video regarding the January 6th issues, and they're still trying to balk at that, which Democrats are now trying to file an ethics complaint against Kevin McCarthy for how dare you actually let the American people know what really happened on January 6th. And even Mitch McConnell, the Republican minority leader in the Senate, came out and was upset with how this is being released on Fox News.
The notion that people of different...
Oh, wrong one. Let's try this one. Mitch McConnell, let's try this one.
My concern is how it was depicted, which is a different issue. Clearly, the chief of the Capitol Police, in my view, correctly describes what most of us witnessed firsthand on January 6th. So that's my reaction to it. It was a mistake, in my view, for Fox News to depict this in a way that's completely at variance with what our chief law enforcement official here at the Capitol thinks.
Wow, man, that guy puts me to sleep. I don't know how he's still the leader of the Republican Party in the Senate, but there you go. You even have the Republicans that are balking, saying, wait a second, it wasn't all peaceful like that, with actual video of people, you know, putting things back up, tidying around, taking selfies, getting guided around by law enforcement and security guards around the area. Yeah, we can't watch the actual video and actually be believed that way. We need to have the narrative still that it was such a terrible, horrible thing. Which, was there bad stuff that happened? Absolutely there was. Don't deny that. Don't try and belittle that. But at the same time, to try and make that the one and only thing that happened, give me a break, man. The house of cards is falling with the transparency And thank God for Kevin McCarthy. I never thought I'd say that, but thank God for Kevin McCarthy and all the conservatives and Republicans in the House right now that are just blowing everything up and relating everything to the public. We now know what happened on January 6th. We now know about the origins of COVID, even though they're trying to balk on that. We'll get to that here in just a second as well. And it's because of social media. It's because of us being relentless to spread that message, and now Republicans that are actually willing to release this stuff. If we allow this type of bill, this Restrict Act, to go into effect to ban social media with TikTok and other social media sites as well, because they want the full content, we will never be able to get the truth out there the way that we do right now. And it's already tough. We've had to start our own social media sites. We've had to go around the government intrusion because we haven't seen a whole lot of changes from Twitter, even though Elon Musk is working on making it better. We haven't seen any changes from Facebook right now. We haven't seen any changes from Google and YouTube right now. If you try to search something on Google or try and watch something on YouTube, they still block a lot of content that they don't agree with. And if we get rid of the other social media sites, as bad as they may be for data collection, which shouldn't be a concern for us if we're signing up for social media in the first place, but if we're that concerned about it, it really comes down to a propaganda issue for the government. They can't contain the issues. They can't contain the facts, and they can't contain it and be able to pipe up the propaganda they want to be done. It's about control. It's not about privacy.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates, from holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media. Welcome to the Hooser Media Network. It's been a long time coming, and now it's growing bigger and better than we ever imagined. The Hooser Media Network is so much more than just the Voice of Reason. It's a network for you as a listener and you as a podcaster. It's a network for any kind of talk on any kind of topic, bringing podcasters together to give you a new way to think about the world. And it's any type of show from entertainment to educational. Check out all of our great programs, like Dr. Devin Verana with If They Knew.
Yeah, and it gives you tangible tools. I mean, I'm sure she just mentioned that some people might be mad at the government. I just can't imagine.
No.
I think there's a little bit of anger in the world these days, but I was listening to Wayne Dyer this morning, and he said, if you grab an orange and you squeeze it, what comes out? Juice. What kind of juice? Orange juice every time, right? It's not going to be apple juice. It's never going to be mango juice. It's always going to be orange juice. So whatever is in us is going to come out when we're squeezed. And so I'm sure you're learning that, like, taking yourself through this process continually just adds more and more power, more and more depth of compassion and joy and freedom and all those good feeling things, because you're clearing that space out.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. Now take people, so for anybody listening out there that might have an object of anger, whether it's somebody or something or, you know, objects out in the world these days, take us into some tactical, practical things that they can do. Number one, I'm sure, is to come see you, but what are some other things?
So I skipped that one on purpose when I was going through this, but the first book that changed my life, and I listened to it before I signed up for the, I listened to her 1 hour Zoom before I signed up for the class. She was interviewing a man who told us about a book called The Four Agreements. And so then when you get into the class, we study the book called Forgive for Good by Fred Luskin. And we went through a process by Michael Brown called The Presence Process. These are all three books. And I hate to be this honest, but let me be this honest. You can read those 3 books and know everything I'm going to teach you. But like any good class, I mean, just because I signed up for a class in college, I buy the books. You really need someone to guide you through them.
That plus tune into Spiritual Smorgasbord with Desiree and Cheyenne.
It is, and we talked about that because then, of course, other things started to happen after that. Of course, that was not my last doctor's visit by no means. However, you know, we talked about it, and I thought, you know, our ancestors were so smart. They know, like, whatever ails us, there's a cure for on this planet. We're just not smart enough to know how to use it, but our ancestors were. We need to get back to that. Modern medicine, basically what that is it is what you get from the plant, the healing benefit, just on steroids with side effects.
Yes.
And so a lot of people, modern medicine is considered sexy. It's fast resolving. It's instant gratification. But, and so like plant-based formula, the raw, natural plant-based formula is what is going to work. It's going to be great. It just takes a while. And people want that instant gratification.
Oh, yes.
So a lot of people try
It's been marketed
something.
to them that way too.
It
They're like,
has.
oh, that's the old way. It's going to take you forever. But if you just take this, you wake up tomorrow and you can have whatever you want.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want.
But at what cost?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you know.
My leg is broken, but have some Oxycontin.
Yes.
You know, it's
Right.
like, dude, your leg is still severely broken.
Right.
You just can't feel anything.
Yeah. And it's like, so let's go to nature. Let's see.
Yeah.
You know what? There's pain relievers in nature. Marijuana is a great pain reliever.
Yes.
For one. I mean, you know, just.
Mentally and physically.
Yes. Well, I mean, you know, but there's other remedies out there. And everything that ails us, there's a cure for on this planet.
This whole room smells like peppermint.
We're all getting cured.
We're all getting cured right now. It's a beautiful essential oil I bought from a local, I guess you could say apothecary shelf, but I'm getting healed right now.
Yes, exactly. It is. And it's all around us. We just need to know how to look for it. And I'm sorry, but that's kind of what we were discussing. And that kind of was what started this this whole journey. And what I'm very fortunate that, you know, my spouse and I are together on this. It's not just one of us having a spiritual journey. It's that we're doing this together.
Listen to those shows and so much more on our website where you can find live streaming, links to the podcast, links to social media, more content, and so much more. It's all online at HooserMedia.com.
When Reason Meets Radio. This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right, you know what? Reason, common sense, rationale. Welcome back into the program. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial Generation 1 radio listener at a time. Always great to have you along for the ride today. By the way, I want to give you a shout out. Opslens.com, OPSLENS.com. They have their website, they have their app, they have their social media on all of them, like Facebook and Tweety and the YouTube and the Twitch.tv and the Getter, all that good stuff. We do as well, which you can find me at Hooser Reason, HOOSER Reason. You can find them at Opslens, and they host our video streaming, which we love them to death and appreciate that very, very much. They have a new opportunity for you if you want to start it, which I highly recommend. While we talk about the censorship of social media and real content getting out versus the propaganda our own government wants us to know, which is pathetic, isn't it? We should be able to trust our government, but that doesn't quite happen. Is that the case? No. Okay. Making sure. You want to be able to get the truth out there. The mainstream media is not going to help you. Our government and Karine Jean-Pierre and the press secretary for the White House is not going to help you. Our statements from different agencies and departments and bureaucrats are not going to help you. You need the truth. And by getting the truth, meaning you come up with your own opinion based on getting all sides of information and learning everything you possibly can about an issue. Well, now you can do that. Go to options.com. Right on the homepage there, you'll see the world view. Click on that. What you get is if you sign up for this, then you get all of the media out there, blogs and journalism and news articles and anything on any topic that you want, any possible topic. You just type in the keywords, and anytime there's a news article, you get information about it. It's super awesome from all over the world and both sides of the aisle for you to craft and come up with your own opinion. You get, when you sign up, you get 5 days free trial. to test it out, make sure you like it, and then you get to stay in the know. If you do like it, you can sign up, use the promo code VOR10, and I know you're going to like it because there's no reason why you wouldn't want all the information you can regarding maybe COVID origins or the TikTok banning or real information out there the government doesn't want you to know, COVID-19 origins or January 6th or whatever else. You can just type it in and you get it. Use the promo code VOR10. Again, VOR10. That's Voice of Reason. You get 10% off your monthly subscription. Go and check it out. Highly recommend it. I'm starting to use it for my own as well, for my show prep and what we use on the content here on the program, because we want the truth. And the truth is that you have to come up with your opinions based on all of the information gathered and all of the opinions out there to craft your own. I don't want you to just blindly listen to me. I don't want you to blindly agree with me. You may completely disagree about the TikTok thing. No, I think it's a good thing that the government's going to be silencing TikTok. I think it's a good thing that they're going to be overseeing social media to make sure there's no hate speech or misinformation being represented out there. I doubt it. I doubt it. But if you want the truth out there, you can. Opslens.com. You can find the worldview. Use promo code VOR10 in order to sign up for that one. Prime example is the last couple of days we've had the COVID-19 Origin Committee. The COVID-19 committee trying to dive deep down the real reason that the virus was out there, the real reason of what really happened with the lockdowns and the mask mandates and the gain of function and the Wuhan lab. And we finally found out that it was not a bunch of Ozzy Osbournes out there biting the heads off of bats, but indeed it was coming from a Wuhan lab that was being funded by the NIH and Dr. Anthony Fauci for gain of function for whatever purposes that they may have that were accidentally leaked. That information was out at the very beginning, and if you remembered, thanks to our glorious, wonderful government and PR team coming out of the White House, that they said, no, that's not conclusive. It's actually from a bat in a market with people eating these bats. Now we're finding otherwise. And some Democrats are on this committee because, Kevin McCarthy's not an evil, terrible right-winger just trying to silence all Democrats from doing their job. No, there are some that are on there, including ones who have been caught in the lie, who have been caught in the shenanigans, and now are trying to backtrack by saying anybody that testifies in this committee to talk about the origins of COVID are, racist, because that's the fallback right now.
And under President Biden's direction and leadership, the intelligence community initiated a sweeping assessment to get to the bottom of the virus origins. The facts are, the evidence remains inconclusive. Therefore, we must allow our scientists and intelligence communities to gather evidence without politicization, extreme partisan rhetoric, or conspiratorial accusations that vilify our nation's public health experts.
Oh my.
Instead, we should focus on developing policies that prevent and reduce the harm of future viruses and pandemics.
That was Congressman Raul. My thing just lost here. Hold on here. There we go. I hate ads on the interweb right there. That was Congressman Raul Ruz, Democrat, California, right there, as he was introducing his statement here. We need to have a clear focus. We need to have that mindset. Put on the blinders, and let's go ahead and figure out what really happened here. What really happened is we know exactly what happened with the COVID-19 virus and where it actually came from, and we just need to accept it. I know you got busted, and the mindset from Democrats is always deny, deny, deny. Even if you get busted red-handed, you always deny and say you were a victim in the situation. It wasn't actually you, but the Biden administration's handling it perfect, and everything's all wonderful and great. And oh, by the way, we probably need to look at these racist guys who are actually testifying, because Republicans are only cherry-picking and selecting who's actually going to be part of this committee.
Today's hearing marks a concerning step down the path of letting extremism get in the way of an inquiry that should be led by science and facts. When House Republicans announced this hearing with their slate of handpicked witnesses, I was alarmed to see someone who wrote a book applauded by white supremacists.
What?
Mr. Nicholas Wade's 2014 book, A Troublesome Inheritance, suggests that different racial and ethnic groups have evolved to possess genetic variations in traits and behaviors tied to whether they prosper or not.
Okay, we'll get into Wade in just a second. because I don't really know. I'm not quite sure why he was testifying there in the first place, but the whole concept of him writing a racist book is just untrue in any way, shape, or form. The book, The Troublesome Inheritance, Genes, Race, and Human History, talked about different portions and different groups of people around different parts of the world had different ways of living, so therefore they have different perspectives of the world around them. That's not a racist thing. I know that you guys are trying to whitewash everybody, because if you mention a different culture thinking differently, although you like them thinking differently, unless it disagrees with you, then it's a racist concept. So they want everybody. You ever see South Park again? And there's an episode where the people from the future come back, and everybody's the same tone color. They don't have any hair. They don't have any male or female representations of who they may or may not be. They come in the single colored jumpsuit, and they're all the same tone color, and they're all speak the same language, and they don't have any hair. That's what Democrats would love, even though they have their glass ceiling capped on the minority communities across the country. And when they start to lose that, that's when they start to get a little panicky, which is why they get concerned about these types of issues, because he goes on to say that the minority communities were more affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, which is true, because they locked them down and they weren't allowed to go to work along with everybody else. But minority communities, especially where that's their livelihood, just like everybody else, they were not allowed to. Most of them fought the COVID-19 vaccines because they know the trials and experimentation that the government has done prior to in different minority communities. So rightfully so, they were a bit skeptical to take some of these things, among other individuals as well who were skeptical. But yet they blame it on victimization of society because we weren't doing the right thing to take care of people. And again, I don't know why this is a conversation we're even having when we talk about the origins of COVID-19, but that's where the Democrats go. Ties into the whole propaganda thing, right? When we actually start investigating, which I have to say, I'm glad Republicans are investigating and opening up certain committees on certain issues. That's awesome. I want to go beyond just the investigation, but I want to see people actually getting tried for it. I want to see people going to jail for certain things. I want to see punishment and actually justice being done for the wrongdoings that were done in society with January 6th, with COVID. And by the way, January 6th, I'm not talking about the peaceful protesters that walked in there and took selfies because they were in the Capitol at that time. Not what I'm talking about. I want to know about COVID and the gain of function and the origins of it. I want to know everything that they're not telling us under the false flag of national security, where the general public is too stupid to figure it out. And now it's coming to light, and the other side's squirming.
The notion that people of different racial or ethnic groups are more successful or intellectually superior to another because of predisposed genetic makeup is grossly inconsistent with the consensus of scientific and medical scholarship. That is why I sent a letter to my Republican colleagues this morning, strongly urging them to disinvite Mr. Wade as a witness so as not to give legitimacy to a man of such discredited, unscientific, and harmful views. These views are dangerous and have no place in a hearing examining the origins of a pandemic that has disproportionately and overwhelmingly harmed communities of color in the United States.
I wonder why that is. Maybe it's because you told everybody to go home and stay home and wear masks and get a jab, and you put distrust in society. And there was a lot of individuals, most especially minority communities across the nation, that don't trust the government to take care of them because that's not their job to take care of them. By the way, Wade did respond after all that, according to Fox News, and said I should briefly respond to the attempt by a ranking member, Roos, to discredit my testimony by saying a number of untrue things about my book that I wrote 10 years ago on the biology of race. It was detrimentally non-racist book. It has no scientific errors that I'm aware of. It has no racist statements, and it stresses the theme of unity, that we are all variations on the same human genome. My book was vigorously attacked by certain academics who want everyone else to believe that there are no biological basis to race, and my book was welcome to them as pictures of Earth from space are to flat earthers. So, I mean, again, we have to drivel about stupid crap because the Democrats can't handle the real truth about real issues. As he says, we should properly figure out what we did wrong and what we should do better next time. Here's an idea for you, Democrats and Roos and everybody else who's on that committee, or anybody else that thinks that locking down was a good idea. Here's what we should do, God forbid another pandemic happens. Number 1, no masks. Number 2, no isolation or lockdowns. Number 3, no health mandates. Number 4, give us all of the information not holding a single thing back and letting us make our choices for ourselves. I know it's a wild concept and you lose all power,
This is
but that's
the
a good
Voice
thing.
of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. There you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently, as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hooser Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. As we continue to grow as a radio and TV program, we're continuously working behind the scenes to try and bring more common sense and reason to more patriotic Americans all over the country. That's why we're super excited to be working with the OpsLens team to bring you the Voice of Reason every single day. OpsLens is a national online network bringing you incredible content all day from hosts all over the country. And each host brings their own unique experience and expertise to the current events, reaching hundreds of thousands of patriotic Americans daily. Make sure to check out their website at opslens.com. Make sure to download the OpsLens website and follow them on all of these social media sites that you like, so you can watch all their live streaming content, including ours right here with the Voice of Reason. Plus, if you want more of the Voice of Reason, check out our website online at HooserReason.com. There you can listen to the live audio feed of the show every single day. You can read our monthly blog. You can check out our satire infomercials. You can see pictures of what we're doing, upcoming schedule of events, and a heck of a lot more. On the website, you can find our list of radio and TV affiliates in your area. Find our social media links, and while you're there, sign up for our free newsletter. Over the last 2 years, your Voice of Reason newsletter has grown exponentially. It's completely free, and in it we give you your monthly motivation, upcoming civic holidays for the month, a recap from the show from last month, upcoming guests on the program, along with the latest news from our Hooser Media Network. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is go to the website at HooserReason.com and become the next Hoosier-holic. Finally, follow us on all of our social media sites. With the iron grip control on content from the radical left, unless you follow us, you're not going to be able to see us. It's been an ongoing battle with shadow banning on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where even our own fans are having a hard time finding our content. But the battle isn't over. We'll continue to bring you the best content we can on as many platforms as possible. You can follow us with the handle at Hooser Reason. No matter what social media site you like to use, you can find us there. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, Instagram, TikTok, OurFreedomBook.com, Parler, and of course our website at HooserReason.com. Don't miss it while we give you a heads up on some of the events that I may be attending or speaking at, updates of behind-the-scene projects, or just something sarcastic to try and rile up the left. The battle for freedom is real, and we want to be part of that battle, as we want you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Conservative principles happen at the grassroots level, and that's what we're here to help with. And together, you and I can fight back against this virus that's spreading across the nation that is socialist policy, trying to destroy this country. We can bring us back to some constitutional values, some individual sovereignty, and the right for you to be able to make your own choices when you deem necessary for you, your family, and your community. In a world of fake news and information overload, it's time to bring back some reason, common sense, guidance, and a little bit of wisdom. And that's what we're here to do. This is the Voice of Reason.
Fighting for freedom every day. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Last few minutes of the show. Thanks for hanging out with us today. As always, we love you to death wherever you may be watching or listening or hanging out with us, downloading, streaming, listening on radio stations all over the place. Doesn't matter. Always love you to death. So we have a committee trying to figure out what happened, because I know Democrats are like, oh, wait a second, I don't know if we really need to really worry about the origins, like Hillary Clinton. At what point does it really matter? What difference does it really make right now? And that's what many Democrats really go on to. That's really their go-to, isn't it? When they start losing, then when they lose the game, well, it doesn't matter. Let's just move on. Talk about narcissism, man. Like, you actually beat them in an argument. Well, it doesn't matter. Let's just move on. It doesn't matter. Not a big deal. Doesn't matter. Move on. Okay, cool. So, like, what do we do to make sure this doesn't happen again? Well, now we're still seeing the effects of COVID, aren't we? Restaurants are still desperate to get workers. The entry-level positions still are not being filled all over the nation. I mean, we have workers out there looking for work, and we have businesses looking for workers, but they're not meshing up the way that they need to right now. Why? Because we still have a lot of government social programs out there that are keeping things kind of hyped up at an inflated level to where things can't get back to normal, and we can allow high schoolers to get back into the workforce to get some work experience for the very first time. People trying to get back on their feet that are trying to work their way back up again. I reiterate this. Here's a trigger warning for you that entry-level positions, the guy working at the fast food joint, the janitor, the ones that are making minimum wage, they're not supposed to be on wages to take care of families. I know. Well, they say it's not livable to live on, $7 an hour, $10 an hour. We need $20 an hour. You're not supposed to live on those things. They're supposed to be for the ones that are getting back on their feet. They're supposed to be for the ones that are trying to get on their feet for the first time, just gaining some experience and have no clue what the hell they're doing. That's what those positions are supposed to be for, to work through high school, to work through college, and when you are struggling and actually need to get back on for your side gig or whatever the case may be. But those jobs are available, and if people want to go and work 2 or 3 jobs to do that, then all the power to you, because those jobs are available right now. It's just whether people actually want to work them or not. We're still recovering. But while that's going on, we have the Democrats losing their minds right now with some of the ending of the social programs, with SNAP and with Medicare and Medicaid, where you have not had to qualify for them. You just sign up for COVID and boom, you got it. Everything's great. I'm curious what tomorrow's going to look like with the president's proposal for the budget. Because as we've already hit our budget debt ceiling for the year going into September, we've already hit it. We're trying to figure out how to continue just to pay our bills going into the rest of the year. And they have some big spending plans, man. They're ready to haul through and make some other things happen. They want to make some big projects happen in the country. They need money to do that. So I'm curious on what the budget proposal is going to be and whether Democrats and Republicans in Congress even look at it or crumple it up and put it in the request bin in the corner of the office and say, thanks, but no thanks. We got our own thing going on. I really hope that at least Republicans will do that. Not sure the Democrats will. They'll be like, oh, this is great. AOC's got it, man. She'll be able to ram it through. But while we're seeing years after the COVID pandemic, the ramifications of this one here, we're still seeing the truth slightly come out. So while Democrats may say we need to get to the bottom of it to really focus on what to do to move forward.
And under President Biden's direction and leadership, the intelligence community initiated a sweeping assessment to get to the bottom of the virus origins. The facts are, the evidence remains inconclusive.
It's inconclusive. We need to get to the truth because we don't want to focus on the things that are not important.
Instead, We should focus on developing policies that prevent and reduce the harm of future viruses and pandemics.
Well, the viruses and the pandemics that have hit would only make it worse if we do the same thing we did last time by mandating masks, by mandating vaccines, by locking people down at home, by crashing the entire economy, and then saying Joe Biden created 10 million plus jobs, because that's just not true at all. But do you really have the faith in the Republican Party right now? I'm so torn. I don't know. I'm torn. We're doing great stuff exposing things, but at the same time, we're jumping down the same rabbit hole that we've done for a long time with the ban on social media, with this Restrict Act, wanting to ban and give the power away to the Department of Commerce. That's kind of a foolish thing to do. Then we have Ron DeSantis down in Florida, which we love him to death, could be a great presidential candidate moving forward into 2024, but wanting to register bloggers online to make sure that they're registered as a business? Wait, what? What are we doing? Republicans were better than this. Conservatives were better than this. The interweb is supposed to be the wild, wild west to say or believe whatever you want and to spew that whether it's true or not. It's up to us to decipher what is truth and what is not truth, to figure out what is right and wrong, and to be able to correct it and to sway people on our side based on logic, common sense, reason, and facts. And that seems to be a challenging task in today's times. That does it for us today. Back at it tomorrow for a pre-Friday celebration. Until then, be your own voice of reason. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates, from holistic and alternative medicine